Hi Pisces, and welcome to your horoscope for January 2025. Thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. My horoscopes are based on the UK time zone, and please watch them in this order: for your rising sign first, then your sun sign, and finally your moon sign. So I'm going to break January down into 4 weeks, and I'm going to pay particular attention to what the moon is doing, how it moves through your chart, and how it will influence you in every day of January. Before I do that though, I just want to mention that January is a really great month for stargazers. On Friday, the 3rd of January, you could see Venus really close to the moon. And to me, that was a real symbol of hope, especially after the black moon in Capricorn that we had on the 30th of December 2024. Venus is the planet of love and beauty and creativity and giving life to things. And the moon is your heart, and it's what makes you feel at home. So the fact that those two were so close together and visible was almost like this moment of encouragement starting 2025 that you are entitled to create new things and to express yourself creatively and to give life to things that you find important. Then also on the 18th of January, you'll see Venus and Saturn really close to each other, and they'll appear 2.2 degrees apart from another. So Venus is the planet of creativity, Saturn is structure and security. So again, that's the confidence and the courage to say that I have the right to express my own views on things. It's okay to express my emotions and my feelings, and really to add a valuable contribution to my life, the people in my life, and the world at large. You may also see shooting stars via the quadrantid meteor shower, and I hope I said that properly, which continues until the 12th of January. So if you do get a clear night, have a look, see what stars are there, and if you see a shooting star, please make a wish for 2025. And all of these things appearing here in the beginning of January, to me, it looks like 2025, January, but also the whole year, is a time where a lot of people can really manifest their biggest hopes and dreams for their own lives and make the world a better place through all of these wonderful contributions. So week 1, Wednesday the 1st to Sunday the 5th of January, and I know I'm starting a little late, I'm recording this on the 4th of January, but I still want to see what the placements were at the beginning. On the 1st of January, we had the moon in Capricorn, and in your chart, that was in your 11th house of hopes and dreams. It was next to Palace, which is wisdom, the sun, the identity you're striving towards, and the transiting midheaven, which is work. All of them in Capricorn. The 1st of January for you as a Pisces would have been really helpful in understanding what your hopes and dreams really are and what work you can do in order to realize those in earnest and to manifest them into reality. On the 2nd and 3rd of January, the moon moved into Aquarius, and it sat in your 12th house of spirituality and spiritual strength. In the traditional chart, the 12th house is yours, right? And it joined Pluto, the planet of transformation and change, and Venus, the creative, loving planet, and all of those were in Aquarius in that 12th house. So those 2 days were almost like the universe wanted to make contact with you and share information that you can use and implement in order to make your everyday life experience better. And it would have also given you concrete advice as to what you can work on, what you can work towards to make these things come true. Also on the 3rd of January, Venus then moved out of Aquarius in your 12th house, and it moved into your sign of Pisces, and it moved into your 1st house of self. And it joined Saturn, structure and security, and your ruler, Neptune, all of them in Pisces. So the 3rd of January was really an opportunity for you to feel secure and solid and safe within yourself, to dream the dreams, to use your imagination, to consider all of the wonderful things that could be, and to feel a real sense of optimism around those. And then that got even stronger on the 4th and 5th of January when the moon joins Venus and Saturn and Neptune in your first house, because it goes into Pisces on those 2 days, the 4th and 5th. So the moon represents really what you have access to, what makes you feel like you're home. It's your heart and it's your innermost feeling. And the connection of all these planets would really encourage you to take the things that only exist in your mind's eye, in your imagination, and to find an outlet for them or to find a home for them. Whether that means you want to write a book or you want to compose a piece of music or work as a performance artist or channel spiritual information and energy from the higher realms. Really, whatever is most interesting to you as far as your imagination is concerned, the 4th and 5th are really great times to do the work and to present them to the world, so to speak. And I don't mean you have to immediately on the 4th draw the picture and then on the 5th rent the gallery space and hang it up, but it's this gradual process of feeling confident enough to say, do you know what, my perspective on the world is really valuable, and if I share it with other people, it can have a positive impact. Also, from the 6th of December 2024 until the 23rd of February 2025, we've got Mars, the planet of masculinity and drive, that's retrograde, and it's retrograde for a really long time here. It's in your 6th house of structure, daily routine, your physical health, the things that make you feel like your life is organized. And Mars rules the first sign of the zodiac, Aries, which is a fire sign. And here it's in Leo, which is another fire sign, so it's quite comfortable and happy in that placement. But I think Mars in Leo, especially when it's direct, can be a little bit much. It's overconfidence. It can even veer off into arrogance and saying, I know everything. I'm the boss. I'm the leader. I'm not accepting feedback. So the fact that it's in retrograde is actually a good thing, because I think it mitigates some of the negative parts of that. And sitting in your 6th house, it gives you the confidence and a sense that, you know what, I am the designer of my own life. And if my daily routine doesn't serve me or I don't find it enjoyable, then it's up to me to change it, and I can do it. So this year for you, Pisces, starts off with you being in a really good spot and having this sense of ownership of your own circumstances in your life, and a belief that if you apply yourself, things can change and things can turn out amazingly. Also, the other 2 personal planets, Mercury, the communication planet, and Venus, the loving planet of creativity and giving life, they're direct all month. So don't expect to have any issues with communication or transportation. And please also feel free to start the new business and to start the new relationships. With those 2 being direct, it's all systems go, and it's time for you to realize your dreams for your life and to approach that in a very hands-on way. So let's have a look at the houses the moon covered then in the first 5 days of January. It started in your 11th house and it finished up in your 1st house. And that is really the very left-hand side of your chart. It's houses 11, 12, and 1. So the thing that comes in is this great sense of support via the higher realms, and then a sense of well-being in yourself, so that once the first 5 days of January are over, you feel like your energy levels are at 100%. You have permission to pursue things, to take risks, and to say, this is my life. I'm going to make it as beautiful as I can. So it's really, really optimistic. Week 2, Monday to Sunday, the 6th to 12th of January. On the 6th and 7th, we have the moon in Aries, and that's now moved into your 2nd house of money and assets and securities, and it joins the North Node, Chiron, and the transiting ascendant, all in Aries in that 2nd house. So these 2 days are about taking action when it comes to looking at your income, seeing what you want to do with it, whether you want to create a second source of income, whether you're happy with what you've got, but ultimately there's the opportunity to heal anything that you're not satisfied with and to feel like you're on track to fulfilling your life purpose. On the 6th of January as well, we have Mars retrograding back into Cancer, and it moves into your 5th house of what you love, both work-wise, but also who you love in terms of romance and relationship. And that sits there with the part of Fortune and Hades in Cancer. And that's really a great opportunity for you to, if relationships, particularly romantic relationships, are important to you and you've had some disappointments in the past, like most of us would have, right? That Mars in Cancer in retrograde would really cause you to approach that very differently, and it would give you the confidence to meet new people and to be open enough to make that happen. But I really think that you would go into those situations not just thinking, hey, what can I get out of this? Is this person doing it for me? You would also be able to look at that and say, how can I provide something loving and positive to this other person? Even if you've had a fear around relationships, as in you've had several that haven't worked out, and you've kind of come to the point where it's like, do you know what, this might not happen for me. Not everyone ends up with, the one, and maybe I'm one of those people. This time in January is an opportunity to overcome that resignation, to try again, and the outcome is likely to be much better. So if you have wanted to make changes in that area of your life, please do so on the 6th and 7th. You'll have a fabulous outcome. The other thing that happens on the 6th of January is that the moon reaches its second quarter, so it's waxing, it's getting bigger, and working its way to becoming a full moon in Cancer on the 13th of January. So that's when this energy peaks, the 6th of January. The moon then moves on into Taurus on the 8th and 9th, and that leaves your second house and goes into your third house of communication, where it joins the transiting ascendant, also known as the rising sign, and Uranus, which is the planet of the miraculous and the unexpected, the chaotic, the energy that says anything could happen and anything is possible. So while the moon is in Taurus in that sector, it means that you can do incredible work, especially if you work creatively. So if you're a painter or an artist or a performer or a florist or a fashion designer or an interior designer, the work that you do on the 8th and 9th is going to be wonderful and surprisingly good. Like, when you produce something and you're like, oh, this is so much better than I thought it could be. I'm like delighted with myself. The other thing about this with the luminary and the outer planet being in Taurus, Taurus is ruled by Venus, which is that impulse to create and to give life. So if you're working in any of those fields, please give yourself time to work creatively. Also on the 8th of January, we've got Mercury, the communication planet, ingressing into Capricorn, and it joins your transiting midheaven, Pallas, and the Sun. They're all in Capricorn in your 11th house. And what that means is the communication planet is going to help you realize what the dream job would be. So again, if you're a Pisces who feels like you're not living your life purpose just yet, you're still looking for it, contemplating what that could be around the 8th and the 9th of January will really yield very useful answers and responses. It's almost like the higher realms are providing you with this information so that you can get going. On the 10th and 11th, the moon goes into Gemini, and that's really good news because it joins Jupiter, the lucky planet, which is also in Gemini, and both of them sit in your 4th house of family and your roots and what makes you feel like you belong. So that 2-day period is great for your closest relationships with family members, friends who feel like family. Any communication or conversation you have with people like that in your life is going to go very well. It's going to be incredibly enjoyable. It's likely that there will be gales of laughter and that you all enjoy yourself. But really don't expect any discord around this time. And even if you have certain family members where the relationship is a little tense, connecting with those kind of people as well on the 10th and 11th means that it's very likely, or it's supported, that you can iron out the wrinkles and come to some sort of agreement. Maybe even you can agree to disagree, but it means that you can strengthen your relationships on those 2 days. The moon goes into Cancer on the 12th of January and moving into week 3 as well. It stays in Cancer on the 13th and 14th as well. But on the 12th, it moves into your 5th house. It joins Hades in retrograde and Mars in retrograde, and all of them are in Cancer. So again, this is an opportunity to say, what is it that I want to do for myself when it comes to working in the right field? And also, what can I do to experience love, to give love, to receive love, and to have that kind of experience where I feel like I belong either to another person, or what I'm doing in my working life is really the thing I was born to do, the reason I'm here, and the contribution I can make to the world. So let's see, during week 2, the moon starts on the 6th in your 2nd house of money and belongings, and then it ends up in your 5th house of what you love. And all of this is the very bottom of the chart. So it's figuring out what the things are that will be most fulfilling, the things that are most important, and how to get going with those and to expand them so that your everyday experience is much more enjoyable and you feel like you're on the right track. Week 3, Monday to Sunday, the 13th to 19th of January. Like I said, on the 13th and 14th, the moon is still in Cancer. So that continues on the 13th and 14th. But particularly on the 13th, we have a full moon in Cancer. Full moon is when the moon reaches its completion point in its 28-day cycle, and it celebrates and it's fully illuminated, and it lets go of all of its energy and it showers us with that energy. So you Pisces, this full moon in Cancer, you're both water signs, so I would say you're kind of cousins. And on the 13th particularly, expect to figure out something that you can either work towards, and even if you're not working, if you're a student or you're retired, what's the most important thing that you can work on, that you can devote your energy to? And also, what is it that I can accomplish as far as relationships with other people are concerned? So if you're single and looking, I would say that the 12th, 13th and 14th are great days to go on dates and to, be open to the possibility of a meaningful relationship and to regain that hope that is possible. On the 15th and 16th of January, the moon moves into Leo and it goes into your 6th house of daily routine, the structures of your life, your physical body, and even your physical health. And the moon in Leo is very confident, and it's very much about, I take charge of things. So if there are any structures in your life that are unsuitable, that you no longer need, you're going to find it incredibly easy to take charge of that and to say, if this no longer serves me, it's out the window, it's out the door. I want to live a life that feels free and like I have power to express what I think is right and good and proper. On a simpler level, I think those 2 days, on the 15th and 16th, it's also just a day of feeling really well and being energized and having motivation for the future. The moon then continues and goes into Virgo on the 17th and 18th of January. Virgo is a sign that's ruled by Mercury, the communication planet, and Virgo is very good at picking up on information, or taking a ton of information, breaking it down in order to create meaning. And with it being in this 7th house of relationships, I would say, again, it's a wonderful 2-day period of making new friends or going on dates, because you'll find it very straightforward to discover whether there is a connection, whether there are sparks there, whether this is someone who you want to get to know better. There's not going to be any wishy-washiness, any kind of back and forth. You'll get to the answer like that, and then you can act on it. Let's have another meeting or not. And that in itself as well can often be difficult for people. You know, a lot of people often feel guilty and like they have to go on another date so they don't hurt that other person's feelings. You're not going to have any of those problems here in January. On the 19th, we've got the moon going into Libra, and again, that extends into week 4. It stays in Libra also on the 20th and 21st. But when the moon moves into Libra on the 19th, it goes into your 8th house of institutions and authorities. It joins the South Node in Libra and Black Moon Lilith in Libra in that sector. So Libra is like a bridge with a bump in it. And what you're able to do during these 3 days, the 19th, 20th, and 21st, is connect to any institutions or corporations or big groups of people that you either want to connect with or you want to get your foot in the door. So job applications, submitting manuscripts to publishers. But it's also good for mediation. It's good for any kind of legal things that need settling. You'll be able to get your point across very quickly and easily. And you'll also be able to ensure that you stand your ground and that any kind of discussion or negotiation is settled in a way that you're happy with, rather than agreeing to something that is unsuitable just because you don't feel you have the confidence, or you just don't want to drag out the process, or you don't want to. It's not about the other person, it's about you having your own best interests at heart and the ability to connect with these giant groups of people and still getting what you want, as well as the resolution. So if anything like that is outstanding in your life and it causes you stress, the 19th and 20th and 21st, if you're able to schedule it around that time, will work most effectively for you. Also, on the 19th, we have the sun moving into Aquarius. And in your case, the sun moves into your 12th house of spirituality and spiritual strength, and it sits right on top of Pluto and the part of fortune. Pluto is transformation and change. It's like the phoenix rising from the ashes, and it's rebirth. So again, if you have a spiritual practice from the 19th of January onwards, please try and use that, because you'll get information and energy from the higher realms that will allow you to transform into the person you've always wanted to be, if you don't feel like you've already accomplished that. You get a free ticket to the Akashic Records, and you can get a lot of answers about your own identity during that period. So if there's anything that you don't understand about yourself, or certain behaviors that cause you problem in life and that you want to change but you feel powerless over, please consider and contemplate those things. From the 19th onwards, you'll get a lot of useful answers that you can implement, and with that implementation, you can affect change. And in my experience, changing the self can feel very difficult, because often a lot of the negative behaviors come from the ego. And when you then change those, the ego starts stomping and making a big scene, because it doesn't want to be minimized. It wants to have control over your life. So you really have the opportunity to break out of those kind of prisons that we all have in our lives. So in week 3, the moon starts in your 5th house, and it ends up in your 8th house. And that's the right-hand side of your chart. And that's really, what is it that I'm looking for, both in my work, in love, in my daily routine, in my relationships, both personal and formal. And how can I engage with all of these different aspects of life and make improvements? So the third week is really fabulous in the sense that you're going to feel like your actions really have positive outcomes and consequences, and that you're not a sitting duck. You have a lot of control over the way your life looks. And here in January, you're being given all the power in the universe to apply yourself to making those kind of changes. And then finally, week 4, which isn't a week, but rather it's 11 days, Monday to Friday, the 20th to 31st of January. The moon is still in Libra on the 20th and 21st, so that theme of being able to connect with institutions and authorities continues. We also have the moon reaching its 4th quarter, and it's waning on the 21st of January on its way to becoming a new moon. So that's when this ability is at its strongest. So if you can schedule it in for the 21st, that would be amazing. Then the moon goes into Scorpio, and it moves into your 9th house of travel, education, and broadening your horizons. And it sits next to Vesta, which is the hearth and the home, and Juno, which represents endless summer. Now, the moon in Scorpio is very intuitive, it's psychic, it's able to dive down beneath the surface and to uncover hidden secrets. So this is great in the sense that if you do travel, it'll have a really strong emotional impact on you, or you may be guided through strong inner feelings to start researching or to start learning about a subject that you know very little about. And that then can affect really big changes in future. So the key thing is to open yourself up to something new and unfamiliar. The moon then goes into Sagittarius on the 24th, 25th, and 26th, and that's in your 10th house of career. So expect those 3 days to be really, really good for your working life, that you're able to overcome obstacles very easily, but also that you can get a lot of work done and that you can feel incredibly productive. Then the moon goes into Capricorn on the 27th and the 28th, and that joins Pallas and Mercury also in Capricorn. So these 2 days, we have your heart, your inner self is willing to do the work. Again, what is it that I love to do in my working life? What kind of loving experience do I want to experience via other people in my life? But Pallas is wisdom and Mercury is real insight. There's very little opportunity for you to put a foot wrong in those 2 areas of life, work and personal relationships, because it's like you're being guided and led by the hand via your connection to the higher realms. And this transformation that you undergo in January really creates a different dynamic that attracts different people to you. So there's a lot of change going on for you this month, Pisces, and it looks like good change. On the 27th, Mercury then leaves that 11th house and it moves out of Capricorn and it goes into Aquarius. It joins Pluto, and you're transiting midheaven and the sun all in Aquarius in that 12th house. So now your spiritual antennas are switched on and you're able to download spiritual energy and information, which then again can allow you to make changes to your identity or the identity you're striving towards. Maybe your goals have changed since you set them last. I think this time particularly would be a good time to journal and to put the heading, what is the ideal way I can see myself in life and how can I get there? And what is the ideal work for me? And what is the perfect, well, not perfect, but what is the ideal relationship that I could picture for myself? And really write those down and reflect on those things, see what you get. It's like a door is being opened in your head and all the information is being put in. And I don't mean that in a frightening way, but you're going to know a lot more about yourself and what you want by the end of January than you did at the beginning of January. Okay, so let me just check something. So on the 27th, Mercury goes into Aquarius in your 12th, yes. The moon then goes into Aquarius as well on the 29th and 30th of January, and it joins all of the other placements in that 12th house. So the level of information coming through just ramps up and gets even more. And then what's interesting is that on the 29th, this is the peak of that, because we have a new moon in Aquarius. That's when the moon goes pitch black and pulls in this Aquarius energy into your chart, and it's still in the 12th house. So the universe is really saying that, hey Pisces, I know you have certain questions, here are the answers, here you go. So even if you don't really meditate or spend a lot of time, in hermit mode contemplating what the meaning of life is and how to become enlightened, this information comes through free of charge and is delivered to you. You don't have to do very much. On the 30th, we've got Uranus, the planet of the miraculous and the unexpected. That goes direct until the 5th of September 2025. And it goes direct in your third house of communication, and it's in Taurus. So Uranus going direct in that third house, again, allows you to express yourself much more and to take your thoughts and your emotions and your feelings and to externalize them into things like art or music or any creative modality that allows you to build something that stems from within. So if you're a Pisces who's an artist or a singer or a performer or a fashion designer or a chocolatier, any of those things, you're going to find that January is much easier, but also the next 9 months are easier in you being able to realize your vision in a way that's very satisfying and fulfilling. Finally, on the 31st of January, the moon goes into Pisces and it joins Saturn and Venus and Neptune and the North Node, all in Pisces. So you finish January with a great sense of well-being and knowing exactly what direction you're going into and what your life purpose is. So it goes from the beginning of January being very vague, and it gets more and more and more focused as you go along until you really nail it and you know what's important to you in your life. So in these last 11 days, the moon started in your 8th house and moved through all the houses until it ended in your 1st house. So that's houses 8 and 9. Then it's quadrant 4, which is houses 10, 11, and 12. And finally, house 1. So the last 11 days of January are really about you doing well in work, understanding what your hopes and dreams are. But ultimately, it's about receiving a ton of information that gives you that specific focus on what is worth your time and energy and really what isn't. So if there has been a state of fogginess or confusion, that's really going to disappear in January. It will be replaced by sunshine and real clarity as to what comes next. So I'm really happy for you, Pisces. I hope that gives you an idea of what you'll be working with in January. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. I use astrology, the tarot, numerology, and my intuition in my personal readings. And if you have any questions about yourself, your strengths and weaknesses, I can look at that by drawing up your natal chart. I need your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. If you don't have the time of birth, then please order a chart rectification with me. That's a process where I work out your time of birth. But if you don't want to do that, I can still draw up your chart without the time by using sunrise. That means that the ascendant isn't accurate and the house places aren't accurate, but I can still analyze the planet. So it's still possible. To look at what's coming up in future, I'll have a look at the transits and the progress chart. And if it's around your birthday, what's also really a great tool is a solar return chart, because it shows me the next year ahead. The progress chart and transits allow me to see much further. So the next few months and years rather than just 1 year. What's also really good is astrocartography. That shows me which locations on planet Earth are going to have a particular influence on you and work really well, ideally. So if you're interested in any of that, please do get in touch for a personal reading. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, please, so it shows up in searches. Subscribe for more videos in future. And if you know anyone who you think may like this video, then please share it with them. That's what helps the channel grow. And it's a great way for you to support me. I'd be ever so grateful. Is there anything else I wanted to mention? Yes, if you would like to watch the daily tarot reading that I do on this channel, then please become a member of the channel and watch this space for the videos on the full moon in Cancer and the new moon at the end of January. I'll make separate videos on those. And that's it. Have a wonderful January, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best.